Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Quarantine with Chris. It's been a minute, and that kind of sucks. I wanted to continue to make these on a more regular basis as things kind of started kicking off, but that didn't really happen. In fact, the opposite happened. In quarantine, your boy kind of hit his first quarter life crisis, you know what I'm saying? Thinking about a lot of stuff that I've been doing creatively, that I've done creatively, that I can do creatively, and not coming up with a lot of great answers. And that really put me in a slump, you know, and I know a lot of people are going through that, and I just want to say it's a totally normal thing, especially for millennials around my age. I had all of these plans. I moved out of my parents' house. I bought all this equipment. I decked out this room, and then I kind of sat here like, okay, but what can I really do? It got really tough for me to watch movies, watch TV. I wasn't beating any video games. I would start a game, kind of taste it for a little bit. Another game would get interesting. I'd taste that for a little bit, and I wasn't really getting involved with games as I usually do, and I think I was just in a slump. And then that affected the box office rollout, because I wasn't following up with box office news. I wasn't figuring out what was coming out each week. I just wasn't really interested. It just seemed like an industry that was so far removed from me at this point that it just kind of made me sad to think about. But after that kind of passed, and hitting those walls, breaking through them, mental block, breaking through them, I decided it was time to pick up another creative endeavor. If you know my affection for movies and where it comes from, it actually all stems from video games. Back when I started writing back in high school, I wrote a script based on a game, and I've been rushing to get into the film industry to make that movie ever since. It's been a race against time. It's been fun, but extremely unhealthy for me mentally, especially as the industry continues to move towards making video game adaptations. Gone are the days of video games being niche. As people like myself get older, and generations of people who actually played games as a mainstream form of entertainment, that generation of filmmakers is breaking into the industry, or soon to, and it's going to be easier and easier for us to make these video game adapted movies. So I've been racing against time to do this, because I know especially the movie that I want to make is going to get done. It's inevitable. Video games have been a huge inspiration for me in wanting to become a filmmaker. And I continue to do film related things because of my love for video games, but I have never actually translated that love for video games into anything revolving around video games, and that's what this video is about. This industry is so young in the blockbuster space, and it's really interesting to me, and it's such a young industry, and that's why I made this video to say that I have started picking up game development. And over the last 2 weeks, for about a week each, I've been spending my time after work, after I'm done with Premiere, is spending time either in Unreal Engine 4 and Game Maker Studio 2. Basically, what I'm going to be doing now is making a game, or at least learning how to make games. So I have ideas for games already, and I have a whiteboard of stuff, but what I thought would be fun is, because video games inspired me to make movies, is using movies to help inspire me to make video games. So what that means is, my first script was based on a video game. My first game is probably going to be based on a movie. So I figured I might stream myself making a video game. And this isn't to like super plug the stream. It's gonna be boring a lot of the time, but this is a video log for me in a way that I can save on storage space instead of having to save everything on a hard drive, to either save it to YouTube or save it to Twitch. Every time that I go in and I spend a few hours either in Unreal or Game Maker Studio. So I think what I'm gonna start with is Game Maker Studio 2, because I actually wanna finish something. I'm gonna be streaming basically my devlogs, just kind of getting that creative juice back. In the meantime, while in the background, I am building on the skills that I have, right? Writing scripts, doing stuff with my friends, hopefully shooting some more stuff soon by the end of the month. So you're invited to hang out. Like I said, it's not going to be the most exciting thing ever, but if you are looking at getting into video games, you just haven't had the motivation or time, pop into the stream, just hang out, throw me on, put some music in the background, and I'm gonna be going over a lot of concepts for the first time, and you can follow along and follow that path and know which tutorials teach what and all that kind of stuff without having to do a lot of that legwork yourself, because I'll be doing it. However, to kick things off, because I haven't forgotten about my film side, and like I said, I went through a bit of a crisis, I'm also going to be looking at a lot of my old work. Now, I haven't watched a lot of my old stuff in a very long time. Again, if you've ever asked me about some of the stuff that I made, you will know that I hate almost every minute of it. I love that it's made. I love the experiences that I had making it. But as far as watching it back and like judging it in the larger sense of what film is, nah, fam. I mean, I have called my work every 4-letter word under the sun. And now that I've had kind of the time to sit back and really think about the stuff that, you know, we've been able to accomplish over the last few years, I'm going to be looking at very honestly and critically my old work. So I'm only going to do the completed work, so no FPS Fred or the director or anything like that, but I am going to be tackling Cheaters Ring, Directorial, and the Super Sketch Saturdays series. I'm going to be watching Cheaters Ring, and I'd love for you guys to join in, and I'm gonna be basically watching it and talking about it shot for shot, what could be improved, what is just the cringiest shit on earth, and overall trying to give an honest judgment as to what my style is and where I'm at as a filmmaker at that time, and where, because of where I am now, I would be able to improve the project if I can at all. Hopefully I can do it. Hopefully I have the mental stamina to do it. If you haven't watched the shorts or want to rewatch them again, this would be a cool way to do it with me, as I know not a lot of these things have had proper premieres. Starting Tuesday, before we get into Game Maker Studio, we will be watching Cheaters Ring. It should be fun, if not very self-defamating. That's my update. The film stuff is still happening. I just need to get some creative juices going again. You know what I'm saying? The film thing wasn't working out right now because of quarantine and 2020 and all that. You know what I mean? So, but that is not the only thing. Game development won't be the only thing that I think I stream. I think right now, I've been an editor for so long. There are a lot of people out there who don't know, you know, what I do on a regular basis as a creative. What does a creative do outside of sit in his or her room and just think about things? There's actually a lot of processes to everything that I do. So it might not just be game development. We might do some live edits. We might do some coming up with concepts for either scripts or for the new channel that hopefully will be launching soon. I've got some content that's been sitting on my drive that I've shot with some friends that I have not had time to edit, so maybe you'll see some of that stuff early. So overall, I think I'm gonna be sharing a lot more of my creative process. I think one of the things that I definitely learned going through this kind of quarter-life crisis period is that as I was younger, you know, I was afraid to be my own cheerleader because A, I didn't think my work was all that great, and B, I felt that I would feel more validated if that praise came from other people. Those things didn't mesh, right? Either I hated my work or people would praise my work and I wouldn't take it because I hated my work. And then that cycle just meant that my projects would sit on YouTube or people wouldn't know that I have projects. As I've gotten older, I've realized that I've got to do that for myself because, you know, my work is my work and my work is unique, no matter how it stacks up to other people's work, whether that be on the grand levels of the, you know, David Finchers or the Martin Scorseses or the, you know, the YouTube space. Just because my work doesn't stack up to that stuff doesn't mean that it's not worth watching or telling people to watch. Because like I said, it is its own unique experience. So Mondays through Wednesdays, I'll try to stream after work. The first few will be fronted with critiques of some old familiar works. Hopefully everyone else is doing well. I know this has been a very tough period, and like I said, it took a while for it to hit me. Like I said, I am an introvert. I like staying inside. So I can't even imagine what it's like for you extroverts out there who started feeling what I was feeling borderline a year ago, the end of March, basically. A lot of people are going through this. Keep your head up, find new outlets. I know that's hard, but I think you will think yourself out of it. Please don't do anything dramatic. Like I said, just because you can't figure it out right now doesn't mean that the journey is over. You will think yourself out of it eventually. Hopefully it's in a shorter time than me. It might not be as short of a time. It might take longer, but the human mind is a very resilient thing if you give it time. That is my takeaway from this experience. And, you know, I'm not totally out of it either. There is still some stuff that I'm thinking myself out of, but we all got to fight these depressive brains sometimes. I know me more often than not, but I'm sure there are more people out there who do it more often than even me. Stay up. Hopefully I will see you later in the week. That is another episode of Quarantine with Chris wrapped up. Hope you enjoyed it. And hopefully there's no traumatic series finale to this thing. Whether that be me blowing my brains out all over this room or taking a mystery shot and figuring out what it does to my body in 20 years. All right, see you guys later. Have a good one.